What's going on, y'all? This is BoxingWave. I'm going to review the Billy Joe Saunders Chris Eubank fight. The fight was extremely close. Okay, it was extremely close. I actually had it 7 rounds to 6. The reason why I scored it that way is because the ninth round I gave it a draw. All right. I think the fight was extremely close. I mean, clearly, I think Billy Joe Saunders won the first half of the fight clearly, and I think Chris Eubank Jr. won the second half of the fight. Okay. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, like as expected, I figured he would outbox him. All right. I thought he was gonna, his jab was gonna be the difference between the two fighters. Chris Eubank, I thought his power and his size and him, just closing the distance and being on the inside overall was gonna be the difference between him. I thought he's his bigger, stronger fighter, and he showed that in the second half of the fight. He should have started a lot earlier though. He took too long, and it seemed like he was doing the same antics, some of the same antics, like he doing normally in his fights. Him and his dad. His dad coming into the ring, not really giving him advice, just standing there with a nice suit on, and then Eubank, even when he started the fight, he didn't come out of his corner. Really sloppy fight, because Billy Joe Saunders, I've seen him fight much better. Okay. He was a little tentative with the jab because he's usually throwing the jab out there a lot more. But one thing the commentators was they were very, very biased. Um, Chris Eubank would counter him with a left hook a lot when he was throwing the jab, okay, even from the opening round. And the commentators never really gave him any credit for it. Um, Billy Joe Saunders would throw the jab out there, and he would throw the right hand, follow up with it. His combinations were better, but they weren't as expected. Like I thought, if it would to go to decision, like I said in the prediction video, if it went to decision, it was gonna be all Saunders. If it went, if Saunders, if I'm sorry, if Eubank was gonna win the fight, it would have been by knockout. And I thought Saunders was gonna be a lot more dominant by decision if it went to decision. Okay, Saunders have shown in the past that he can have stamina issues late in the round, and I think Eubank Jr. exploited that a little bit. But on the flip side, Eubank Jr. that has never fought past 6 rounds or so, so he looked pretty tired in the second half of the fight too. Okay, so it was a lot of sloppy fight going on. I think Eubank Jr. did well with the left the counter left hook, like I stated earlier. I think he didn't get enough credit for his body punching with his right hand. I think he was landing that right hand all night to the body. But other than that, it was very sloppy. He was throwing wide shots throughout the whole fight. Just swinging for the fences throughout the whole fight. It looked very sloppy. He threw the jab out there every now and then, but I mean, he just wasn't consistent. Saunders was better with the combinations. And Saunders actually did pretty well on the inside. He landed some good uppercuts on his own, but you can clearly tell that Eubank had the better punching power between the two, especially when they were, fighting on the inside and muscling each other around. Okay, but it was a very close fight. I scored it, like I said. I thought it was 7-6. One round 9 was a draw. Okay, to me, so I gave them both that round. And a few of those rounds were very debatable. Okay, so I figured by the end of the fight, I figured Saunders had it, maybe up by a couple of rounds, just based on what the commentators were saying. And I was reading my Twitter account. Most people were giving it to Saunders, but by like 1 or 2 rounds. So I figured, I was going to be off with that. But I did think, based on rounds is concerned, I do think Eubank won the fight. But it could have gone either way. It was very close rounds, and they should have a rematch. But I'm not sure if either fighters are like world level. I don't think. Before, when I've talked about the middleweight division, a lot of people will ask me why I haven't brought up these two fighters. And this performance, this was their best opponent, their best opposition so far. And I really don't think either one is still up on a level to fight the top fighters at 160, the Triple Gs, even the Cotto, even Cotto's much smaller. I don't think neither one of these guys can compare with Cotto. Peter Quillen, you know, you got a lot of fighters out there that these guys gonna have to go through. You know, I don't think they're gonna have a rematch right away, but I hope Billy Joe Saunders just work on his stamina. You know, work on fighting. You know, giving a better fight the second half of the fight. I hope Eubank work on his jab and his balance. Okay, his balance seemed to be off. It seems like every time he got hit, he looked like he was about to fall down, but he was fine. But his balance was off, just the way that his legs was positioned throughout the fight. And I hope he just, you know what, take his fights more seriously. You know, I hope his dad starts training on him. It might never happen because his father was kind of like that way too. But I hope he starts to take it now that he has a loss. I hope he works on, you know, just work on his technique and his craft, and you know, get some better fights and get more fights in before they go up to the big leagues. I don't think either one of them is really up to the challenge for the top fighters at 160. Just not just yet. Okay. So, you know, there's a lot of other fighters out there that you got the Daniel Gills out here. You have you know, you have plenty of fighters at 160 that have lost to the best fighters, you know, like lost to Golovkin or Gills. You got Matthew Macklins. Those are fights that they should be taking right now. I don't think they should be fighting like the top fighters at 160. So anyway, leave comments. The Tyson Fury Chisora fight is about to start now, so I'm gonna cut this off, and I'll see you guys later.